Have you always wanted to consign with The RealReal, but just weren't sure if it was worth your time and if you would even make money on the platform? Then this is the video for you. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniela and I am a clothing reseller on platforms like The RealReal and Poshmark and eBay. And today I'm going to break down my December 2020 sales on The RealReal for you with a twist. So I'm not actually gonna go through all of my sales. I want to talk to you guys about like 5 or 6 sales that had some kind of backstory to them. And I also want to break down the numbers for you because I think there's a little bit of a misconception that if you consign with The RealReal, you're going to make a ton of money. Not true. You could very well make a lot of money, and I have in the past, but this month in particular was interesting to me, and I wanted to share the experience with you. I did make money, not as much as I had hoped, but there's good reason behind it. So let's start with the story. If you've been watching my YouTube video for a while now, you would know that when the pandemic first hit, I ended up recalling all of my items back from The RealReal. So I had about 30 plus boxes that came back to me, and I ended up housing all the items here because couldn't go sourcing, and I listed all those pieces, and I think I sold like 1 or 2 when I got the boxes back, but it took a while. So when December came around, I was kind of reevaluating everything, and I wanted to go into the new year with a clean slate, with my new business mentality that I've now established over the last few months. And I had not really been consigning too much with The RealReal, only here and there. So I decided in December that I was going to pack up big boxes and send whatever I could to them late November, all of December, and continuing on now into January. Well, I decided to take all those things that I had originally recalled from The RealReal and send them back. They hadn't sold. At this point, it's kind of a loss, right? So whatever money I make, I make. I didn't really care. I also didn't want to have as much inventory anymore in my small space. So if you don't know, I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment right now while we're in the process of looking for a home, and space is limited. That's all I can say. Space is really limited. I think I was at about 650 listings, and now I'm down to about 540 or so, and that's with me just continually sending things to The RealReal. So I packaged all these things up, and at this point, I was just thinking, whatever I make, I make. I mean, if I get my money back, great. I can reinvest it back into the business. I have some financial goals that I'm trying to hit. So I really didn't care. It wasn't selling on Poshmark. It wasn't selling on eBay. At this point, I need to figure out what the next steps are. So this is what we did. So we send everything over. Now there's this process at The RealReal, if you don't know, where they open your box up, they go through everything, they list it all out on your consignor page, and they let you know if they accept it, and if they don't accept it, why. So it could be for tearing, staining, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they put tearing or staining, and there isn't any. So when it comes back, I send it back over to them, and they usually accept it the second time. So that's what we did. I had also had an amazing thrift trip in the month of December where I came across all luxury and designer brands, and I sent them some of that stuff too because it just wasn't worth it for me to list it. I'll link a video up here that I did where I show the items that I was going to start consigning that I had found that I originally listed and then decided, no, I'm not doing this. So if you're interested in that, that will be linked for you guys. You can go watch that after this video. I digress. All right, so they go through my box, right? So they went through my entire box, and they ended up taking a good chunk of it. Whatever they didn't take, I ended up sending it back. And yeah, I had really good sales in December. My sales in January are even better, so I'm excited to make a video about the January ones. But let's talk about December. I had sold a total of 24 items on the RealReal. These are all items that were stale in my inventory. I've had a long time and didn't sell, or I found at a good price and I wanted to send it in and see what I could get for it because I knew the market wasn't right on eBay or Poshmark, or they were bad buys. Yeah. We don't like to admit that we have bad buys as resellers, but we do. They happen. They happen to all of us. So a couple of these sales were bad buys as well, and I basically broke even or made a couple of dollars on them. So my total sales that I made, this is before any fees or anything that came out. Oh, lie. Cut. My total sales is after as what my commission is on the RealReal. So the RealReal breaks it down by commission points. So I'm at the 60% commission point, but certain items I'm still only making 40, 45, 50% commission on, and it's because of the price point. So if you want like a whole breakdown of what the commission rates are like for the RealReal, I'll link that down below so you guys can do your research and see what that structure is like. I am at the 60% commission mark until I believe it said November 22nd, 2022. So I still have some time for me to hit the 70% mark, which is the highest they have. That's their VIP, I think it's called. You need to sell $10,000 worth of goods, and I think I'm about $5,000 away from that. So I'm almost there. Not quite, but I'm almost there. But this is like a yearly thing. Like you have to continuously be selling on there to maintain these different percentages. So now that I've explained that, my total sales with my commission rate, so this is after the RealReal takes their chunk out, was $576. Not bad, right? Pretty good sum of money for an extra stream of income, and I'm not doing any work. They're steaming, they're photographing, they're doing it all. My net profit, which is the most important thing, this is after my cost of goods and my travel and all of that stuff, because I incorporate all of that in my cost of goods. So my net profit was $361.21. Still not bad. But I think it's good to keep that into perspective, that 576 number looks really intriguing, and it looks like it's this big magical number that everyone can hit. But when you factor in everything else that I've discussed, whether it be time, travel, gas, all of that stuff, is $361.21. Not complaining. That's great that I made $361. Do I wish it was higher? Yeah, and I've had months where it was a lot higher, but I'm okay with it because the items that I moved were sitting for me. They literally were doing me no service being in my Poshmark closet or eBay store. So I'm very happy with that. So let's talk about the sales. So I do not want to go through all 24 of them because A, that's boring, and I don't do boring. And I don't think it's interesting to just go through a bunch of different sales. I know for me personally, I like to hear the pros, I like to hear the cons, I like to hear people's backstory, like what happened, why did you send that in, and why are you okay with that price point, and why didn't you just keep it in your closet? Like things like that are more interesting to me, and I hope they're just as interesting to you. Let me know in the comments if you'd rather me go through all 24, because if you do, then I'll do that. This is for you guys, so you guys can learn more about the platform. But if you prefer hearing the highlight points, then let me know that too, because I want your feedback on it. I'm just assuming that people will like what I like. Probably a bad thing to assume. But let's get to it. The first sale that I want to talk about, I have a notebook, so if I'm looking down, I apologize. I just want to make sure I reference my notes here. First sale was a label that's super exciting to find. We find it in the thrift store, has a lot of hype over it when you hear it in the reselling world. Doesn't necessarily always sell for a good profit. And I learned this. So I found a pair of Ralph Lauren Black Label new tag trouser pants. They were mid-rise. They were very, how can I describe them? They were like a riding pant, but they had a flare leg to them. And I was so excited to find these in the thrift store. They cost me $6 at Savers, and I was like thrilled. I couldn't wait to list them because they were new at tag. I think they retail for $4.75. I believe that's what the tag said. So I was like, okay, great. I'll list them at $195. See what happens. They sat for 7 months. And I was just too stubborn to do anything about it. I didn't want to lower the price too much. I was sending out offers. I declined. Well, I didn't decline. I countered offers of like $50 or $60 because that's who I am sometimes as a person. Don't do that. It's not great. If you only paid $6 on something and you're going to make lots of money on it, take the offer. Don't be like me. So yeah, I sent them in. They accepted them. They were new at tag. I knew they were going to accept them, even though the style probably wasn't the best. But because it was new at tag, they were more likely to take them. I was surprised at what they priced them at, and I was surprised at what they sold at. So they listed these at $120, which made me think I overpriced my item, clearly, because I priced it at $195. And the RealReal does their market research, as I probably should more often, and they average out what a certain brand sells like on their platform. So they probably looked at other Ralph Lauren Black Label trousers and said, okay, these generally sell between the, I don't know, $60 to $150 mark. So let's average it together. What does that come, what does that come out to be? Probably around the 120 mark because it was new at tag. They probably inflated it a little bit. There was no 20% off coupon on this. So if you don't know, the RealReal does give its buyers 20% off coupons off of most items on their site. There are certain luxury items that they do not accept the 20% off coupon, which as a seller is really exciting. But as a buyer, not so nice. So they sold for 120. I had the commission of 50% on those pants. Minus my cost of goods, I made $54 on those pants. Pretty great, but here's the moral of the story. If I would have just accepted the $65 offer that I got on Poshmark, probably within a month of me listing them, I would have made the exact same amount of money. And I would have made it faster. So that's lesson number one. If you get a good offer and it's reasonable, don't get attached to the price tag. Don't get attached to the item. Just take it, because we're not in the storage business. Maybe you are, and that's fine. But I'm not. And I need to move inventory within a month. A month is like my sweet spot. I'm happy if I move items within a month. But I do give items 60 to 90 days. So yeah, good sale. But probably should have just sold it on Poshmark when I received a similar offer back in like February or January. Yeah. The next sale, or these are two that I want to discuss. One is a Max Mara wool tweed blazer, and the other one is a Kate Spade sweater, both of which were in my recall boxes from the RealReal. I originally had these before I even sent them in the first time around. Got them in 2019. I got them in September of 2019, both of them. They were in the same thrift trip for these two. And I think I held on to them for maybe a month or so, and then I sent them off to the RealReal. They ended up getting marked down to like 75% off, which is when I recalled them back. And I got them in, was that March? End of March, beginning of April, when I got those items back. Immediately relisted everything onto my Poshmark and eBay store, continued to sit up until the end of November when I decided to box it up and send it to the RealReal. And they sold within the first 24 hours of being listed on the RealReal for the second time. So, I don't know. Think of that whatever you want. But I think it was also a seasonal thing. When I had originally sent them, I think we were closing out on the winter months. So, well, no, not really. It was the same time. So I don't know why, but they didn't sell the first time. Forget what I just said. But anyway, they sold in the first 24 hours of being listed. My cost of goods on both of these items were $5. So great cost of goods. Side note to what I'm about to tell you. Make sure if you're sending things into the RealReal that your cost of goods is low, like $7 or below. You will see in the next couple of things that I'm going to tell you that my cost of goods was higher and it did not work in my favor. So it is very important for you to have a low cost of goods so that you can see a better return. That's just my philosophy behind the real. $7 and under, send it in. Okay, so the Max Mara wool tweed blazer, I thought it was beautiful. I'll insert a photo of all this stuff so you guys can see it. But it sold for $60. It had 20% off as well. I made 50% commission, so I made $30. So the $60 was with the 20% off. I made $30 minus my $5 for the cost of goods, so $25 on this wool tweed blazer. I never had offers on this item on Poshmark or eBay, which always surprised me, but I didn't get any. So I was happy with that. I know I only made $25, but I made money, so happy with that, and it's gone and it's not in my inventory and we're good. The second item was the Kate Spade sweater, which I thought was beautiful. It was a cashmere and alpaca blend and it had the stripes on it. I just thought it was so pretty and no one ever wanted it. It had a lot of likes, it had a lot of attention, and just nothing happened ever. So again, this item sold immediately upon listing, sold for $75, no coupon code used. I had 40% commission on this item, so I made $30 minus my $5 cost of good, so my total profit there was $25. I'm happy with it. I mean, it's better than it just sitting forever in my inventory. I made money, so very, very happy with it. The next two sales are bad buys. I make them. Not often. I used to make them a lot more often, but these were bad buys on my part, and they were buys that I made in 2020. So, learn my lesson. I think one of them is due to the climate of the world right now, and the other one was it's just not a desirable piece. But the first one was a red Valentino t-shirt. This t-shirt I thought was cute when I found it. It had this embroidery on it. And I had never found Red Valentino before, but I have learned that Red Valentino just doesn't have that great of a following, and the resale isn't great on it. So my cost of goods in this item, now this is all averaged. I said this in one of my other videos before too. I average on my cost of goods depending on how much I spend. So my average cost of goods for that item was $12, which was high. But I had sent it in because I knew I wasn't going to be able to sell it on my own. I tried and it just wasn't working for me. So the item sold for $40, and that was with a 20% off coupon. My profit was $16. I paid $12. Yeah, I made $4. Not the best, but it's okay. I mean, I was either going to break even on it anyway, or it was just going to sit forever, and it wasn't worth it for me. So I'm not going to say never. I may pick it up again, but just not that style. The second item was an Alice and Olivia dress that was new at Tags that I found at Savers, and I paid $12 for that as well. I was really excited. It was my first time finding Alice and Olivia that was new at Tags. This was also in 2020, like I said before. I want to say it was like the summer when the thrift stores first opened back up, and everyone was donating all of their dresses and business wear and all that stuff because it didn't matter in 2020, and I don't think it's going to matter too much in 2021 either right now. So it sold for $52, and that was with 20% off. I'm just going to say here that the tag on the dress was like $285, but you will learn that that price means nothing to the real. They don't care if it's brand new at Tags and it says that amount on it. Means nothing. Is it going to move in the next 2 weeks for them? Great. If it's not, we got to price it low, and we need to make sure that it moves quickly. That's their motto. So I made $20.80 minus the $12. I made $8.80. So, I mean, not great, not terrible, but not great. Happens. I do think that the Alice and Olivia dress, dresses just aren't really selling right now. It's just not something that people are looking for. Um, and I do have another Alice and Olivia dress that I sent to them that I had bought during a retail arbitrage trip. And I also paid $20 for that dress. And it just wasn't moving. It had a lot of attention. It just didn't work because of the climate of the world. And it sold on the real, but I only made 80 cents on it. I think that's the lowest. Yeah, that's the lowest amount that I made an item was 80 cents. So for me, that's like a wash, right? Like the 80 cents doesn't really count. I broke even, and that's okay because what I did do during my December months of sending things was make sure that I was sending a lot of business wear or dresses and all that kind of stuff. Surprisingly, a lot of that sold in December, and I think the clientele on the Real is a little different. You have different people that are coming in, a lot of business women, businessmen. They're still attending meetings even if it's on Zoom, and they like to present themselves a certain way. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, not great for those three items. I do want to point out I sent them all of my Stuart Weitzman shoes, and I had a ton, and some of them were newer Stuart Weitzman. They priced basically all the Stuart Weitzman shoes at $50. I had one pair that was priced higher, priced at $120, but they were brand new in the box, and the style was definitely cute. It was very modern. It had a nice little block heel on it. It was really, really nice. If it was my size, I probably would have kept them for work. Those did sell as well, but those are for my January sales. But all the ones that sold, I sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of Stuart Weitzman. They sold at $40 with the 20% off. I made $11 on each pair, which was fine because I never pay more than $3 to $5 if I find a pair of Stuart Weitzman, which is why I send them in because I know I'm going to easily double my money. I never list Stuart Weitzman myself anymore. I learned that the hard way. Same with Salvatore Ferragamo. I don't list them myself anymore. If I find them for $5 and below, I just send them off to the Real because the pair that I sold on the Real this past month, I made $14.20 on, and I would say it's fair to assume that when you're sending Stuart Weitzman and Salvatore Ferragamo, you're going to make between that $10 and $15 mark. So if you're okay with doubling your money and doing no work, then I suggest you send them in. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this helpful. I hope it gave you a little bit more insight as to what it's like to consign on the Real and what your expectations should be when sending things in, and what my expectations were and what ended up being the result of those expectations happened. And, I just think it's important to realize that, yes, you can make money on this platform. You could make it your sole way of sourcing if you wanted to, but for me, this is an extra stream of income. It's a way for me to get rid of stale inventory, and it's a way for me to maybe get rid of bad buys, which happens to all of us. Yeah, I'm really happy about the amount of money that I made. I'm happy with how much stuff they got listed and how quickly the items sold. And I'm really excited for my January sales. I'm really excited to share those with you because they're a lot better than my December. But I think the theme in December was just to clear out whatever I had and move on to 2021, better year. Business-wise and mentality-wise, cats flying in the background, because it wouldn't be a video with me if a cat didn't make an appearance. I guess I should go. All right, guys, so I will see you in my next video. Bye.